A warm hello and welcome to you all friends. So today our topic is the second area in our life, which is intelligence, right? So when we talk about the word intelligence, what is the first thing that comes in your mind? Maybe it is the intelligence quotient. Followed by the intelligence quotient, you might think of the emotional quotient, the social quotient, the adversity quotient. Remember, I have done a video on all of these in the last few days back. So you can go and check out that video too. But these are quotients. Quotients are to measure the amount of intelligence or to scale and grade that intelligence, friends. But what do we exactly mean by the word intelligence as in itself? Yes, you might be thinking now intelligence is got something to do with the reading, writing, maybe learning new things, applying these things, acquiring some new knowledge. Intelligence could also be acquiring some certain new skills, higher skills, like if you are a musician, you can learn to play a certain kind of instrument. If you are a doctor, you might be doing specializations in certain skills. You can call it as intelligence. If you are into IT, then you might be learning some Java skills or something like that. And it could be those skills in your areas. For dance, it could be some dance patterns, and then we call it intelligence, which is learning new skills and applying these skills. Also, I think the third thing that would come into your minds is dealing with all kinds of life and its challenges, because we are in a day-to-day life. We have small to big challenges in life, like reaching on time to office, finding solutions for kids, finding solutions for your day-to-day activities, your projects. So you might like smaller than these or bigger than these. So it is the ability to deal in your day-to-day lives with these challenges, face these challenges, find out solutions which would be the right solutions according to you, yes, and then overcoming these challenges in life. This also could be intelligence, right? But do you think that these things do really justify intelligence? No, these things actually do not justify intelligence. And then what intelligence could be more of? Intelligence basically is to know and reach your highest possibility of who you actually are deep within yourselves. That is higher intelligence basically. And now, how would this intelligence factor help you? We are going to see, and what is actually intelligence that we are going to come across, friends. So let's get started. First of all, there are two approaches for knowing this intelligence. One is the scientific approaches, which the modern science has said in the fields like neuroscience, neuroplasticity. Let me tell you, friends, that I am a certified coach for neuroscience and neuroplasticity. Also in emotional intelligence techniques, I am certified in it. And the second approach is the holistic approach, which our ancient science has told everybody. And let me also tell you that I am into spirituality since my 8th class. Also, I have been certified for the mindfulness practitioner course 1, 2 and 3 levels, and now I am doing the master's levels in mindfulness. So yes, these are the two approaches to know intelligence much more better. So the first one is the scientific approach, which we are going to learn today. And for the spiritual and holistic approach, we will be learning and dealing with these approach in our spiritual section, which is the fourth area of our life. So friends, we are almost making thousands and thousands of small decisions in our life, right? From what to eat, how to do, how to walk, what to wear, to bigger decisions in our life. And what is it that makes us human beings different from all the other species on this planet? Yes, exactly. That is our intelligence, the brain. So for knowing intelligence from this science aspect, we need to know the parts of our brain, which I am going to describe very briefly and shortly for this video, because then we have to focus on the areas that we actually need to work. So imagine a car with 4 drivers, right? And there is a steering wheel. And now with this steering wheel, only one person at a time, that is one brain at a time, can take hold of the steering wheel. So the first part of our brain is the reptilian brain, which each and every species has. The reptilian brain is responsible for our survival instincts. That is, we feel hunger, we feel thirsty, we feel panic attacks, we feel sleepy. That is for our day-to-day needs. We need this reptilian brain. And also in cases of flight, fight or freeze mode. That is, whenever there are some, because our ancestors used to live into jungles, so this brain was developed. Like each and every species has this brain to protect ourselves from the perceived dangers. Because now we don't live in the jungles, so there are no dangers of a lion attacking us or a snake biting us. And now whatever dangers we are perceiving are just perceived dangers. They are not the actual dangers. But still this reptilian brain exists for us, which is in a way good, because in our day-to-day fast-paced life, we are not taking enough care of our hunger, of our thirst. We are not giving ourselves food, water at the right time. We are hurrying and worrying all the while. And so we get these anxiety. So anxiety at times is good. We'll come to it on a later part. So this is the reptilian brain. The second part of our brain is the paleolimbic brain. The paleolimbic brain is like where we stay into herds, we stay into our communities, and then we have to make different choices. We are capable of making choices. We have our self-confidence because of this paleolimbic brain. The third part of the brain is the neolimbic brain. Yes, the neolimbic brain is a brain which is on the autopilot all the while. When we are not into our awareness state, or when we are into our relaxed and peaceful mind, then the neolimbic brain takes over the driving seat and it has the control always. So the neolimbic brain is responsible for all our habits. It is responsible for what all things we are learning, what all things we know. The neolimbic brain is responsible for our personalities, for our motivations, maybe intrinsic motivations, whatever we have. Like we feel good for doing certain things, like we have a passion for drawing, we are naturally inclined towards learning music, we are naturally inclined towards certain things. That is our intrinsic motivation. And the extrinsic motivation. Also obsessions are a part of this neolimbic brain. And the fourth part is the most important and the most evolved part for which we are concerned is the prefrontal cortex. Yes, the prefrontal cortex is the one that makes us all human beings stand apart from all the human species that are present on this earth. The prefrontal cortex is mostly responsible for making us truly who we are into our spiritual higher intelligence sense. And friends, the prefrontal cortex is also responsible for learning new habits, getting into new opportunities, getting into new decisions, making some changes in our lives. And the prefrontal cortex is the one that helps us to know who we are and stay grounded. So when a driver of this car is the prefrontal cortex, then we are at our highest possibilities. But then why we are not into the prefrontal cortex of our areas? The driver's seat is mostly to the neolimbic brain, that is the intrinsic extrinsic motivation brain, the brain which is responsible for habits. And friends, when we consciously make an effort to put this driving seat to the prefrontal cortex, then and then only we can deal with making certain new decisions, taking up new opportunities and creating the life that we want for ourselves. Sounds a bit difficult, yes, but then you have to understand this concept. The paleolimbic brain, that is the second brain, can learn new things, it can adapt new things, but it adapts to new things at a very slower pace. And it is very difficult for it to change, but it changes over a prolonged period of time, except for some instances where there are sudden attacks on the defense mechanism, or when there are sudden struggles in somebody's life, then only this Paleolimbic brain has a capacity to change in a faster space, but not as compared to the prefrontal cortex. Now, why prefrontal cortex is so much important? Prefrontal cortex is really important in our lives because we need to develop new habits, we need to consciously make new decisions, we need to consciously learn something that we do not know. We have to open for all these new opportunities, new things, so that we change our lives to what we really want to be and leave our habits behind. So now for the prefrontal cortex to function, it has to align with the limbic system. That is the neolimbic brain and the paleolimbic brain. So there is a muscle, think it as like a muscle, and we have to develop this muscle. Also with your routine physical exercises, this muscle develops. If you do not stress your brain, if you do not put your brain on learning and achieving new things, then this muscle shrinks and your capacity as a human being to evolve into your full consciousness, to evolve to your full potential decreases. So you have to keep on learning new things, giving brain teasers and all, and not the games on the mobile, not the game teasers on the mobile, but actually you have to put in an effort to learn new things, develop new habits, so that by repetition, the neolimbic brain and the prefrontal cortex, the muscle gets developed. The muscle is developed only after repetition. It's not like you learn for 1 or 2 days and you get that habit. We have to constantly keep the activities repeating so that in a time span of 1 to 3 months, your brain rewires. This is the beautiful capacity of the brain to rewire itself, to develop the new connections so that it functions on a more nicer way. To simplify this approach, let's move on to the wise mind model. Now, what is this wise mind model? In a wise mind model, we see the two attitudes of a person which usually people carry. One is the logical approach or the rational approach, and the other is an emotional approach. You might be seeing friends around you mostly who are emotionally approachable people, or some people, majority of them are rather the rationally approaching people applying their logical minds. But for the wise mind, you have to intersect the exactly sweet spot between the rational mind and the emotional mind. So if you draw two circles interlacing between them, the center point is the wise mind. So you have to actually focus with this wise mind to operate intelligence in your lives. Friends, most of the people are like learning a lot of things, they have a lot of degrees, they have attained a vast amount of knowledge. Also, they must be searching information, gathering knowledge, and most of the people require facts, they require numbers, they require processes, conceptualized strategies and processes to follow, the fixed ideas, the fixed mindsets, the fixed patterns. Human brains are basically rational brains, the logical brains which search for these things. But it is not the human brain. Basically, logically thinking for facts, finding processes, finding strategies, these are a part of intellect. This is not intelligence. In today's era of modern world with easy approach and accessibility through internet, through media, for various and a vast source of knowledge, we are finding that people are using more and more of their intellect, not intelligence. People are using more and more of their intellect to gather knowledge, gather information, gather facts, numbers, processes, logics, gather systems and a defined conceptualized ideas to refer and relate and process information. But this is not the way the evolved or the enlightened mind, the enlightened intelligence, the true source of intelligence that makes us human within us works. The true source of human that makes us intelligence basically works by not relating to facts and numbers, but by looking at the things as and when they are. So friends, Intellect will only give us the territorial confidence, the limited knowledge, the limited access to peace, happiness. But true fulfilled life for us, the true life of where we are full in happiness state, in blissful state, in the state of total creativity, flow and ease of energy within us, for us to be potentially rising as higher and evolved human beings into all the areas of our life, we need to touch this aspect of intelligence. So friends, intelligence and higher intelligence is a very vast subject. We are surely going to come up with more new ideas for these in the life areas of emotional intelligence aspect, the social aspect and the spiritual aspect in the later videos which will be held ahead. And now for the do's and don'ts, there are 3 do's which you can start implementing and the 3 don'ts for increasing your intelligence and awareness, for increasing mindfulness, so that you get to know deeply inside who you really are and touch that intelligence aspect. The first do is have an open-minded attitude. Be open to learning new things, develop newer habits so that you develop this muscle area of the prefrontal cortex to the limbic system. So you have to keep on repeating new things. Brain learns more by repetitions. So you have to keep on repeating newer habits, develop new habits and keep on repeating them so that you develop this muscle. The second thing is you have to investigate. You have to learn to investigate things. Whatever information you are gathering, try to gather it from more other people. Like if you are focusing on making decisions in your career aspect, making decisions on certain routine day-to-day challenges, you gather information or gather the viewpoints of 3 or 4 of other people and then investigate on all those aspects from various viewpoints, from various angles, so that you develop newer neurons, newer brain connections. So this will keep your brain activating. The third do could be you have to find motivation, right? You have to find that motivation externally. You have to find the dopamine surge, because then motivation, talent everybody has, but to develop that passion to reach and make your talent to reach its highest potential, you have to find some anchors. Anchors could be your friends, it could be some books, it could be prayers, it could be anything. So you have to find motivations. And regarding the don'ts, there are 3 don'ts. First of all is you have to avoid distractions. Yes, in today's area of so many distractions like Facebook, Twitter, information, you have to avoid these distractions. The second thing is you have to focus one thing at a time. The brain has no capacity to multitask. Multitasking is a myth. The brain can only develop and function at its highest potential when it is focusing on one thing at a time. So at a given time, just focus on one thing. And the third point is you have to calibrate your brain energy. The brain energy is at its peak and its highest in the early 2 hours when you wake up. So during this time, you can reach your inner dimension to know who you truly are, what are your requirements. Suppose while journaling, you can also reach your higher intelligence in how to deal with the challenge you are facing on that day. Be in the present moment, be in mindfulness state, and then you have to journal that things. So then this will give you more deeper aspects. So as throughout the day, then your energy somewhat diminishes, and so you have to calibrate which area to focus on and where to give your energy on. With these few points, I think you should start working up onto your intelligence aspect. Note down the things that you need to develop in your day-to-day practice and keep focused, keep practicing it. Remember, repetition helps improving the muscle, and when you get the strongest muscle, then it will in turn help you to make the right decisions, make the right choices in your life, which in turn are going to affect the quality of your life. So we are doing all these things to enhance the quality, to fulfill the quality of your life, to achieve that blissful state, to be peaceful and to be joyful enough. So friends, wish you a very happy life.